Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
I'm Ken Chester. On the docket, my review of the 2026 Lexus TX 350 SUV, bus patrol cameras, and a Rivian automotive update. To join the conversation, be it to ask a question, share an opinion, or even suggest a topic for future discussion, you can call or text the Tech Mobility Hotline. That number, 872-222-9793, or you can email the show directly, talk@techmobility.show. From the Tech Mobility News Desk, Ford has been developing over the last few years an EV that it will cost 30 grand or slightly less. And they didn't do it in the typical way. Ford decided to basically reinvent the wheel because they realized that the way that they've been doing things ain't gonna work. And they're taking a leap from Tesla. They're taking a leap from Toyota, two companies that are taking a similar tack. You may have heard the word, or not, in Tesla language, gigacasting, where they take a part of the vehicle, maybe 50, 60 different parts, and they cast it as one part. Makes it stronger, reduces cost, and makes it easier to assemble. Toyota's doing the same thing in Georgetown, Kentucky. They have revamped a line designed to do something similar. Stellantis is looking at doing something like that. The Ford Motor Company says, we're going to start with that, but we're going to take it further because we really need to get a product that costs less than 30 grand, and we want to make it in the United States. Here is a point that I need to make. Because of our cost structure in this great country of ours, you're going to have to be more ingenious because the old ways of doing things will not work profitably. And what Ford is acknowledging readily is that the cost of vehicles has gotten out of hand. They know this. They're looking at China. They're looking at Slate, which just launched a truck, an EV truck, plain Jane, but it has a price of $24,950. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Ford realizes if there's a future, we need to reinvent something. We can't just sit around and hope it will go away because it won't. So Ford's approach is fewer parts and what they call rapid iteration are among the keys to keeping efficiency high and costs low for their future family of, and here's the key word, affordable EVs. Ford went to California, far away from Dearborn, far away from the suits. They recruited people who weren't particularly from the automotive industry, the traditional automotive industry. And they charged those folks to basically rethink the whole process. What would it look like? How do we get there? How do we meet this target? How do we get something that makes sense, makes money, but yet gets it done? Last August, the Ford Motor Company confirmed its plans to deliver a 30,000 fully electric pickup truck next year. And they charged this California team to make it happen. And for the record, this team has been working in what they call in the industry a skunkworks, which is a project team far, far away from the assembly lines, far, far away from corporate, off in their own little world to reinvent the wheel. They've been at it 3 years. 3 years. In this past February, the Ford Motor Company revealed the first technical details of the truck. Among them was improved aerodynamics, a new side mirror design, a platform employing edge computing, which is novel for a vehicle, aluminum unit castings, a 48-volt accessory system that supports bidirectional charging. If you remember, the typical automotive charging system today, 12 volts, even though most of your new vehicles step that up, but it starts with a 12-volt battery. They've been talking about 48 volts for years, by the way, for at least the last 15 years because of all the new electronic technology in a vehicle today. The current 12-volt way of doing things wasn't cutting it. And the amount of wiring required was getting ridiculous. And they wanted to go back to basics and simplify all of that. And that was an important thing in the whole design. So let me give you really quick seven things. And if we've got time, we'll get into them, but I want to at least read you the headlines. These are 7 unique things about this new thing that Ford is bringing to market next year. Number 1, 3 modular pieces on the assembly line. A rear clip, a center module, and a front clip. That's the vehicle. Number 2, cost less to build, cheaper to repair. This is counterintuitive for me, and I'll come back to it, but basically, less parts, cheaper to repair, because what they did was not just fewer parts, but they designed it to be fixed. And what they're saying, and independently it was proven, by the way, on a Tesla, they compared a Tesla built the old way and a Tesla built with gigacastings, and the gigacasting Tesla cost way less to fix, even in severe accidents. So Ford was on to something. Number 3, your floor is now the battery pack. Enough said. That was number 3. Number 4, something they call neat e-box packaging. A compact e-box is controlled by a single microcontroller and provides 48 volts to 3 zonal nodes and manages AC and DC charging and DC to DC conversion. E-box packaging. A cabin, number 5, like no Ford cabin before it. They have absolutely, positively no carryover parts. That is unusual for an automaker because an automaker gets synergies out of reusing the parts the customer can't see to keep costs down, particularly when using or launching a new product, because they got their eye on the unit cost of the vehicle. And they're going to keep that cost down any way they can. But they basically threw out the rule book on this one. And to quote, we have absolutely no carryover parts, period. Think about that. Number 6, resistive heating goes away. A high-level priority for the EV project was the consolidation of multiple components into a compact vehicle thermal management system, including refrigeration, a heat pump, and coolant distribution. They made it simpler. Fewer parts. No resistive heater in the vehicle. Instead, a hot gas bypass function serves as the heater for the cabin and the battery pack in cold weather, which means they're going to condition the battery pack to limit losses in extreme heat and extreme cold. Number 7, Ford sees personal or fleet use. Fleet use makes sense to me. Personal use, they think there's a market for it. And why I know they're right? Do you remember the 2019-2020 Ford Maverick? The small truck available in a gasoline engine or a hybrid for $19,995. Ford was sold out of that truck for 3 model years. 3 model years. So yeah. But the difference is they are building this one purposely because it's going to stand on its own 2 feet and it's designed to make the automaker a profit from job one. They will not need to subsidize this. That's the point. And they're going to build it here. That's the point. 7 different things that they're working towards. They've been at this 3 years. It's in testing now. They're getting feedback. They're still tweaking. At some point in the next year, year and a half, I'm going to drive one. And we're going to have a time because I'm going to tell you all about it. But yeah, 30 grand or less. And if Ford does their homework right, I fully believe this truck will actually drop in price, not go up. And that's the magic. And I think they've got a fair chance of pulling it off because their very corporate life, depends on their ability to do it. It's slotted somewhere between the RX and LX in the lineup. My review of the 2026 Lexus TX is next. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show. You've heard me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2 Hour Entrepreneur, a practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
Building the fastest car in its class doesn't mean leaving intelligence, beauty, and control behind. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower IS from Lexus.
The Lexus IS sedan from 2006. That was a little, I would call it a personal sedan, personal luxury sedan. That was killer fast and fun to drive. Oh my. Yeah, it was very easy to underestimate that car. But it was, if you had one, you loved it and you wanted to keep it. And in fact, it was one of 2 small Lexuses they had at the time. The other one was the SC400, I believe, convertible, which was really small but really cool, and I really liked them. Yeah, back when a relentless pursuit of perfection was a thing for Lexus. But let me talk about where we're at now. And I call it the pride of Princeton. The Lexus TX is a full-size SUV based on the automaker's GAK platform and manufactured exclusively at Toyota's Princeton, Indiana automobile assembly plant. Produced since September 2023, it's exclusively marketed in North America with no plans for export. This is a uniquely American vehicle. The TX is the sibling of the Toyota Grand Highlander, and it replaces the short-lived Lexus RXL model as Lexus's only 3-row luxury crossover SUV. The GAK platform supports mid to full-size vehicles in front or all-wheel drive configurations. Its low center of gravity and optimal weight distribution makes it ideal for this level of service. Lexus further enhanced the TX body rigidity and minimized noise, vibration, and harshness. Welds and adhesives are features to increase the vehicle's joint strength and rigidity through the main framework components of the chassis. Offered in gasoline, hybrid, and plug-in hybrid versions, this review is focused on just the gasoline version of the TX. And that version, the TX 350, is available in 4 trim levels: Standard, Premium, Luxury, and F-Sport. And the F-Sport trim is further differentiated by F-Sport handling, Performance Premium, and Performance Luxury sub-trims. The Lexus SUV is equipped with a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder gasoline engine that makes 275 horsepower and 317 foot-pounds of torque. Torque is communicated through an 8-speed direct automatic transmission with paddle shifters that gives that traction to the front wheels. All-wheel drive is an available option. EPA fuel economy is 21 city, 27 highway for front-wheel drive, 20 city, 26 highway for all-wheel drive. Cargo capacity is 98 cubic feet with all 3 rows of seating folded flat. Towing capacity is 5,000 pounds. And yeah, fog lights, because, like my fog lights. Here's what I liked about the TX. And the short answer, first of all, is a lot. I like a lot. From its strong and powerful drivetrain, now it's not a barn burner, but that's okay, to its on-demand drive modes: normal, sport, eco, and custom. And the custom mode allows drivers to further tweak the performance of the powertrain, steering control, and air conditioning of all things. Hill descent control, off-road mode, which is a light-duty off-road mode, and gear hold control allow drivers to dial in their preferred vehicle response attributes. When underway, the TX is quiet, confident, and it's impressively easy to drive despite its size. The driver enjoys a commanding outward view of the road. Displays, controls, and switchgear are easy to read and use. The large infotainment display comes in for special mention, and that's a good thing. And without a doubt, the TX is for sure a long-distance campaigner. You'll be able to take 6 or 7 people on long trips in this thing in comfort, and most importantly, the ability to haul their gear. First and second rows of seating are comfortable. Unlike most SUVs that offer 3 rows of seating, the TX actually offers consumers a respectable amount of cargo space behind the 3rd row. Cargo area features a power fold-down control for the split row seat, 3rd row seat. Finally, there's a spare tire available from within the vehicle into the cargo floor, but you're going to have to dig for it because it is not easy to get to, but you can. And that's almost worth it because you can get to it from inside the vehicle. Here's what I didn't like about the TX. And I boil it down to 3 words: 3rd row seating. Now, despite the fact that you've got cargo capacity behind it, which is a good thing, and despite its configuration as theater seating, and what that means, if you don't know, it means that the seats in the 3rd row are actually elevated slightly above so you don't get claustrophobic. So you actually have kind of a panoramic view towards the 2nd and 1st row seats. It's still cramped back there. For 2 folks, oh no, it's cramped. The 3rd row doesn't offer heated or cooled seats. And what's worse, there are no helpful hand grips to facilitate access. And I've said this before, this is not just the TX, but I got to wonder, it seems to be suffering from the same missing Lexus wow factor that just bespoke luxury back in the day from years past. I mean, it's totally competent. Don't get me wrong. But that Lexus little extra, I'm not feeling it. So what's the bottom line on the Lexus TX 350? It's roomy, for sure. Quiet, responsive, and capable. No doubt about any of that. All things that should cause one to quickly recommend the Lexus TX. But while I found the fuel economy of the gasoline models to be meh, I mean, there are hybrid options after all, I got to wonder, and this is a choice, why not just buy the Grand Highlander? Or, even better, if you're hauling folks, consider the Sienna hybrid minivan, which is like a little limo. It is phenomenal. And these are valid choices. The TX, to me, seemed a lot less like a Lexus and more of a super Toyota. But this I know. With its Toyota DNA and rigorous build quality, you really can't go wrong with any of these 3. And I guess at the end of the day, it gets down to your preferences and your needs. Your choice. The base manufacturer suggested retail price for the 2026 Lexus TX 350, the gasoline version, starts from $58,490 for the standard front-wheel drive and up to $67,760 for the F-Sport handling all-wheel drive. Destination charges add $1,450. I test drove the Lexus TX 350 Premium all-wheel drive with a list. It's a long list, and I don't have time to read it, but I will tell you this. The options it came with came to $10,539. It's got all sorts of stuff. Total MSRP of the vehicle I test drove, including options and destination charges, $74,379, which honestly, in the scheme of things, it isn't that out of line with everything else in that category. It's just, I wish it had more Lexus to it. A company has installed AI cameras in tens of thousands of school buses. Now the police want access. This is the Tech Mobility Show.
Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
A recent feature from 404 Media talks about a company called Bus Patrol that has installed AI-powered cameras in tens of thousands of school buses around the United States. And if that's not ominous enough to you for various reasons, they now plan to turn those cameras into automatic license plate readers, capturing the location of every vehicle it drives past and give that data to law enforcement. Forget questions. I got concerns about this one. This is topic B. I need to clear the air first, because when I heard about cameras in school buses, yes, I thought the worst. I'm like, oh my God, you're spying on our kids. Why are you doing that and making this information available? I'm not okay with that. That's not exactly true. So let me make this right, because I started with the wrong assumption. Unfortunately, though, what I'm going to tell you in ways is worse. First, Bus Patrol is a company that's all about bus safety. That is their thing. That was why they started. So let me explain who they are and what they're doing, and then we'll get into the stuff that's got my cackles up. They're dedicated to making communities safer by tackling public safety challenges with advanced AI-powered technology. Today, they're talking about Bus Patrol. We are the nation's leading provider of school bus stop-arm enforcement solutions, partnering with more than 400 communities across the country to modernize school buses with cutting-edge safety systems. What this is, what they do, their original purpose was using cameras in the bus not to spy on the kids, but to catch those motorists who drive past the school arm, stop arm when it's out. Because when it's out and it's flashing, you ain't supposed to pass school bus, because kids across the street. Bus Patrol's job, their avocation, is to capture this information of any driver that breaks that law, that breaks that rule, that drives through it anyway, identify them, report them to law enforcement, so law enforcement can determine if, in fact, a law was broken and give them a ticket, or worse, whatever. Fine them. All right. We all want our kids to be safe. Hey, I rode a school bus when I was in high school. Of course, in junior high and elementary school, we walked. But in high school, rode the bus. It was a mile and a half from the high school, out in the middle of nowhere. Rode the bus. And our stop was particularly dangerous because there was no shoulder. There was no shoulder. The bus was going uphill. There was no shoulder on the right side when it was coming. I had to stand across the street. And the bus stopped, cross the street, get on the bus. Same thing when the bus dropped us off. Although we got off on that, we didn't have to cross the road. But going to school in the morning up the hill could have been really bad. Bus Patrol says that their inspiration for starting the business was a young man by the name of Adam Ranger. He was 5 years old. The year was 2000. And he was tragically killed while getting off his school bus in Ontario, Canada. The company designed a system that would identify and understands when drivers illegally pass stopped school buses. They founded Bus Patrol in 2017, an all-in-one violator-funded program. Remember that, violator-funded program that makes school bus safety accessible. It cost the school system nothing. Violator-funded program. In other words, you break the law, you're going to get fined, and those fines go towards supporting the system. They claim that these incidents that these cameras are catching are recorded, reviewed, and submitted to local law enforcement for review and approval. The typical Bus Patrol bus has a couple of side cameras on the side facing the road, one in front, one in back, one also pointing towards where the kids get on. Make sure the kids get on okay. Nobody is against making sure kids are safe. I want to be real clear about that. That's not my beef with them, now that I understand it. What I'm about to tell you is the beef. Anytime private money gets involved, a venture fund, a venture capital fund, and one such fund just put $300 million into this company, they were pressing the company to find different ways to monetize your technology. This is where I'm at. So what did they come up with? Using this rolling bus, those cameras on, not just when it stopped, not just when kids are getting in and off, but the rolling bus to record every single vehicle it passes, parked behind them, in front of them, next to them, every single time, and to make that information available to law enforcement and the other many things. Again, million of questions. No regulation, no verification. Who's got the data? How long? Where does it go? Who's using it? And how do we protect it from people using it for nefarious reasons? We don't have any laws right here that tell them you can hold it for so long, do it within these parameters, and then you have to delete it, and here are the controls, and here's the audit to make sure you are doing it the way you said you were doing it. No, another rolling automated plate reader. It's bad enough when we reported about Flock, which are stationary, and I'm still not okay with that. Now, this company, Bus Patrol, is going to take a technology designed to keep kids safe and use it now to spy on Americans. Even if you ain't doing nothing, this bus rolling through your community, recording every vehicle within its sight, collecting that information, using AI to make certain connections, and making that available into the law enforcement stream. No protection, no accountability, no requirements. That's my problem. Even if they do it with good intentions, which I doubt, particularly today, it's another reason why they're turning our country into a surveillance state. I'm not okay with this. Don't try something that you sell to make safe for kids, and now you're going to use it to spy on the rest of us. That's not okay. What happened to my personal privacy? Oh, yeah, that's right. I live in the United States. I don't have personal privacy. And it's something that I've been on my horse a long time. Regular listeners, you know how I get. And I'm definitely not okay, but I want you to know about this. You need to know. If you live in one of those 400 communities where they're using bus patrol technology, they're spying on you. This is not paranoia. This is not conspiracy theory. This is actual information from the company's own internal documents. All in the name of making a buck, additional money, monetizing their technology for other reasons. Yes, our kids could be safe, and you know me, I'm all for the technology to keep kids safe. Too many get into problems around school buses. But when you take that technology and you pervert it for another reason, that's my problem. Because that's not okay. Because what's the next thing? And who gets it? And who controls it? And who makes sure I take your word for it? It's okay? Yeah, big data really doesn't do well with that. We've proven that. We've seen that. If it's free, you're the information. Rivian Automotive is one of the survivors of the EV manufacturers in the United States. We update you on how they're doing. We are the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You know, after years of hosting these programs and talking with entrepreneurs, innovators, and business leaders, I realized something. A lot of people aren't lacking ideas. They're lacking a realistic path to start. That's why I wrote 2-Hour Entrepreneur. It's for people with jobs, families, responsibilities, and dreams that have been sitting on the shelf for too long. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2-Hour Entrepreneur. Progress starts small.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
Rivian Automotive is one of the leading manufacturers of EVs in the United States. And contrary to public belief, no, Tesla's not the only non-traditional manufacturer selling at retail to American motorists. Together with Lucid, Rivian not only continues to compete, but grow. And I thought it was time that we did a little roundup of some of the things they're currently up to in the American marketplace. Because contrary to what you may believe, the EV marketplace and EV manufacturers are not dead. EVs are still being sold in the United States of America by a wide swath of companies. And in fact, some companies are bringing new ones to market even now. So I thought you should get brought up to date on Rivian, and this is Topic C. Rivian launched their R1 EV pickup and their R1 SUV. The R1T for the pickup, the R1S for the full-size electric SUV. Done at primarily their plant in Normal, Illinois, which used to be Mitsubishi plant. Before that, it was a joint venture plant between Chrysler and Mitsubishi, built in 1989. But now it makes EVs. Rivian just introduced, just this month, their long-awaited second tier called the R2. It's a little smaller, about half the price of what the R1s are going for. And they are ramping up. They were to build a plant in Georgia, which is back on track. We'll talk about that in a minute. But they moved the R2 production to their normal Illinois plant in order to ramp it up and get it out. Right now, it's out. And buyers can configure and save an R2 build right now on Rivion's website. You can lock in color, interior, wheels, and options. According to the CEO of the company, the R2 perhaps is the most important product the company has launched to date. Here's the thing. I'm a broken record, but I'm going to tell you again. The automotive industry is capital intensive. The only way these companies stay in business is they got to build at volume to cover the fixed overhead cost of engineering, development, and building the infrastructure and all that. That's a fixed cost. The only way you make that happen is the more vehicles you can spread out that cost over, the cheaper they become, the more competitive your product becomes. Variable cost is the actual direct cost of manufacturing, the materials and the labor that go into making it. But everything else, the factory, the engineering, the compliance, all of that, that's fixed overhead. And the only way is to build tons of units. It's one thing if you've got $100,000 and you make 10, it's $10,000 a unit. But if you build 100,000, then it's literally pennies. It's a whole different thing. That's what we're doing here. It's the math. The R2 Performance with Launch Package is actually the first variant that they're going to let people order. It's going to arrive this year, with the premium trim following late this year and the lower cost standard trim in early 2027. Check this out. Rivian targets as many as 25,000 R2 deliveries by the end of 2026. Now, in the general scheme of things, if you're GM, Ford, or even Stellantis, 25,000 ain't much. But if you're an EV manufacturer with one plant and you're building 4 products in that plant, by the way, the R1T, the R1S, the Amazon delivery van, and now the R2, all in the same plant. An awesome way to spread cost. Rather than a slow, staggered rollout, Rivian is concentrating these 3 milestones on June 9th, which is a couple weeks ago. Order confirmation emails to early reservation holders, the start of public demo drives, and the first vehicles arriving in customer driveways. And obviously, invitations ain't getting everybody at once. They want to know how early you reserved, how close you are to a Rivian service and demo location, and more importantly, if you already have a Rivian in your garage. They want to know. Typically, you're going to get moved up because, they're taking care of their own, and that only makes sense. The R2 Performance with Launch package pairs a dual-motor, all-wheel drive setup, producing, and this is crazy, 656 horsepower with a 0 to 60 time of 3.6 seconds. In contrast, you remember the Dodge Charger Hellcat? 707 horsepower. This thing has almost that much horsepower, but check this out. All that power, and still you're going to get an EPA estimated range of 330 miles. That's about 100 miles better than a Genesis EV. And I love the Genesis. I told you, as these automakers scale up, 2 things were going to happen. They were going to find ways to get the cost out of the production, and they were going to find ways to get that range up. And I think that's just the start. I really believe by the end of the decade, that number could be a lot closer to 500. Because I think that is going to be the de facto standard by 2030, or at least into the 2030s. I think all but the least expensive EVs will have that range. And bear in mind, there are at least 3 EVs that meet it now. Lucid's got one, Tesla's got one, and GM's full-size EV trucks are at 460. They're just about there. And I told you, my threshold for buying an EV, if I was going to do it, I'd have to have a range of at least 450 miles. Because I want to encompass weather, load, condition, either too hot, too cold, all of that saps capability. So that's the first thing Rivian is doing. Check this out. I told you about that Georgia plant. They put it on hold. It's back in construction. They're building it now. They have just changed their manufacturing plans to double the initial capacity by 50% to build 300,000 vehicles a year in their new Georgia plant. 300. They increased it by 50%. Rivian aims to increase initial capacity at its future electric vehicle factory near Social Circle, Georgia, by 50% from 200,000 to 300,000 EVs a year. And that is the plant where they're going to launch the smaller R3. And they expect thousands of people to be working there because they want to be a full-range manufacturer. They're going to get it done. They expect also to be assembling R2s down there in late 2028. And I'm anticipating that they will have the R3s in the marketplace probably by 2030. This is happening, folks. Rivian's playing for keeps, and they are following the playbook because volume is king. And bear in mind, this is happening without these federal EV tax credits. They expanded their plant that they're building right now by 50%. No tax credits. EVs aren't dead. They're not.
This is the Tech Mobility Podcast.
If you've been waiting for the perfect time to start your business idea, let me save you some time. That moment probably isn't coming, but 2 focused hours a week? Yeah, most of us can find that. In my new book, 2-Hour Entrepreneur, I'll show you how small, consistent effort can create real momentum toward building something meaningful. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2-Hour Entrepreneur, built for real life.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You've heard me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2-Hour Entrepreneur, a practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2-Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.